All right, good morning, people of YouTube. So we are back again today with another deck profile. This time we have Gammamon. The mascot of Digimon Ghost Game has a deck that is super expensive for seemingly no reason. The deck is probably sitting around a solid tier 2. It's fun, it's pretty good when it pops off, and it can actually take a lot of wins. And in the EX3 format, we do get access to Dorbickmon, which actually is a pretty good card for this deck, allowing you to stack a bunch of inheritable effects, even with CannonWeissmon, and getting a potentially Digimon with Rush, Blitz, like Retaliation, Unblockable, Piercing, things like that for in play for just like 3 or 5 memories. Kind of insane. And that's just some of the things that this deck has access to. Of course, in Bt10, we got CannonWeissmon as well, which says that any Gammamon card in this Digimon's evolution stack, its regular effects become inheritable effects as well. And that has an inheritable effect that it passes up, so it combos really nicely with the Dorbickmon. And you're able to build some really neat stacks with a lot of really cool effects. And making CannonWeissmon into this just kind of absurd boss monster at level 5. And then whenever we do get EX3, the Dorbickmon adds a lot of value to this deck as well. So we will go into the card by card, what makes this deck strong. And if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys like and subscribe, because we do have a giveaway coming on the channel soon for our subscribers, since we hit that 1,000 subscriber threshold. So thank you all for that. It means a lot. We hit one of the milestones of YouTube, and we will continue to grow from here and see exactly what we can do. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into some of the level 2s. I got 4 copies of Gammamon, generic draw power. All of your level 4s will trigger this, so this is a really good card. And then if you want a 5th egg, you can play Kapuri to give you plus 1,000 if you have a Tamer in play. The promo hero is something that you usually want on field, so this is a good generic boost that if you want to play 5 eggs, you do have access to. So we'll go ahead and start off with the level 3s. We are playing a bunch of Gammamons because that is mandatory for the Hero Tamer. The Hero Tamer says if you have Gammamon in your sources, you get security attack +1. So these Gammamons ensure that we are hitting our opponent really, really hard. So we have 4 copies of the Tournament Pack 5 Gammamon that says if you have Hero in play, you get plus 2,000. This is the best one that you want to have in your stack, because this card puts CannonWeissmon at the 12,000 threshold to give itself security attack +1 as with its own effect. So you don't have to use Breaklaw or anything to get CannonWeissmon there. This card alone will do it. So this card is really cool. We got 4 copies of the Bt8 Gammamon that says if you play a red tamer, you get to draw, and an inheritable effect that lets you pick off 3,000 or less whenever you attack. It's a nice card. It's also really cool to have just in your stack, because then you can turn this skill into an inheritable as well, and then anytime you play tamers during your turn, you get to draw more cards. So hand recursion is always really good. And then we have a 3-and-3 split of the other Gammamons. The new one that came out of the box topper pack for Bt10 is one of the ones that I'm considering bumping up to 4, just because it does cost 0 to evolve in the raising area. But the one that costs 1 to evolve in the raising area, I think it was a pre-release promo. It has the effect that says if you have a red tamer in play, you can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon, which makes this a really cool card to have in your CannonWeissmon stack. So this card is nuts, and I do really like it, but I would consider bumping this down to 2 to increase the new Gammamon up to 4. What this says is if you play it, you get to delete something with 2,000 or less, which is nice, and when attacking, you get to delete something with 2,000 or less. So it's not as good as the Bt8 Gammamon, but it does have a cool on-play, which you can trigger off of your Galoose Gammamon's on-deletion effect. So that is really cool. We are just playing the 14 Gammamons in our rookie lineup because we do want to trigger our hero. So going on to the level 4s, I got 4 copies of Battle Gammamon. This is the best level 4 in the deck. You want this for Cannon Weiss. You also want this for Dorbickmon whenever that comes out, because you will have Rush and Blitz, which lets you Digicross and swing to end your turn, even if you pass memory over, which is pretty cool. But having Battle Gammamon, like, if you start your turn, or if you start the game going first and you evolve like this promo Gamma in your raising area, and you play the promo hero, on your next turn, if your opponent puts you to just one memory, you can like evolve into the battle, put them to one, and then swing 2 checks at 8,000. That's pretty cool. This card is just early aggression. The Blitz is very relevant, and you usually want to see this card, so this is the one that we are playing 4 of. We are playing 3 copies of Galoose Gammamon and 3 copies of Wezen Gammamon as well. These cards are both very strong, and if I had more space, I would consider bumping at least Galoose up, but I think 3 Wezen is fine. Wezen is the one that has piercing, so this is really cool. You can get this in your CannonWeissmon stack and then, pierce over things with extra security attack. The Galoose has retaliation as long as you have a Gammamon in your sources, which is really cool. This is one of the ones that you want to keep in your stack as well, because it makes it so that if your opponent swings over you, they die. But also this has a really cool effect that says if it is deleted, then you can play a Gamma from your trash. So this is something that you can provide early game aggression with. The Champion Rush style is something that this deck greatly benefits from, because you have all these Digimon that you're playing for relatively cheap. You're gaining a bunch of value off of them whenever they're swinging with the hero, and Galoose replaces itself if it dies. So these are good cards to play. The last Gammamon card I'm playing is a single copy of Kaus Gamma. I will be bumping this card up to 2 in EX3 whenever we get the Dorbickmon, and I will be cutting an Aguni, because right now I'm playing 1 Kaus and 2 Aguni. That ratio will just invert, because you want dragons to be able to slap in the Dorbick's sources for the Digicross. So Aguni is also here for hybrid for game. We have a lot of red tamers, so right now we can make use of 2. But whenever we cut some of them in BT or in EX3, we're going to go down 1 Aguni as well. So going on to the level 5s, we kind of hinted at this earlier, but CannonWeissmon is broken, and it's the only level 5 in the deck. You gain all your effects. If it hits 12,000 during your turn, it gets security attack +1, and it also gets +2,000 during your turn. And its inheritable effect also passes up your Gammamon skills as well. So this card is not treated as a Gammamon, so the +2,000, and then if you hit 12,000 or more, you get security attack up. That effect will not transfer up the stack if you evolve on top of this card, but every other Gammamon skill definitely will. So this is a really good card both to evolve on top of and to swing with, and I think you can't play any less than 4, and that this deck really wasn't that viable until this card was printed. CannonWeissmon pretty much makes the deck. So the only level 6 that I'm playing for now is the single copy of War Greymon. This card stays whenever we do get Dorbickmon. The level 6 lineup will be 1 War Greymon and 2 Dorbick. There is a 6-card engine that I'm playing with right now for Bt10 that will change whenever EX3 drops, but that's because of a ban list. So, spoiler alert, it's Sunrise Buster. So we'll be dropping 2 Sunrise Buster to make 2 space for the 2 Dorbickmons here. But the reason we keep the War Greymon, not only is it really good against security control, Mastamon, things of that nature, but this is also a Dragonkin, so you can also use this for the Digicross. So this card is insane. Turning off options is always going to be good as long as good options exist in Digimon, and I don't think good options are going away anytime soon. So playing the War Greymon as a 1-of tech is always going to be solid. And then we have 2 Death Exmon to close out the Digimon lineup. I think Death Exmon is absolutely mandatory in this list. Something that this deck does well is it builds a stack, and it punches your opponent in the face, and it does a lot of damage, and it puts on a lot of aggression. Something this deck doesn't do well is get back in control if things start getting out of hand. Death X is that reset button that can get you back in the game. And this deck is already expensive because of all of the promos that you're playing anyway. And I think this deck this deck gets even more expensive because Death X is optional in some decks, and I am under the strong opinion that this deck would not work without at least 2 copies of Death X. And I'm considering going up to 3. Next, we have the Tamers. I got 4 copies of the Promo Hero. Security attack +1 is really good. All you have to do is get a Gammamon in your stack. So this card is nuts. It does everything that we need it to. We got 2 copies of the Memory Tamer Hero. This card also, if I swing with a Gammamon card, so any card in the list except a Goonie, or a level 5 or higher, so again, the Death X, the War Grey, any card in the list except a Goonie, I get plus 2,000. So if I don't have this promo Gammamon in my sources, this is the card that's hitting CannonWeissmon up to that 12,000 threshold to get your extra security attack. So I think this hero is the mandatory memory setter. On to the options, I got 2 copies of Breaklaw. Giving yourself sources is really good. This card replaces itself in hand, which is really cool. It gives you plus 2,000, which is also cool. And its security effect is to play a Gammamon from your hand or trash. So that's also good. This is just an all-around great card. I think 2 of it is fine. But whenever I cut down on Sunrise Buster, if you cut Sunrise Buster completely, like with the Tai and Kari package, you have room to go up on this card to like 3 copies. But I would never play 4 of this card. This card, if you open multiple, then it's kind of just dead. But it is something that you want to see in the mid game. So I think 2 or 3 is fine. Next, we got 2 copies of Crimson Blaze. This card is going to be absurd coming into the EX3 format. And it's something that I'm also considering bumping up as well. This card's good against Jessamon, Minerva. People say it's going to be good against Examon. It's definitely going to be good against the Bloom Lord / Hydro Sea deck. Crimson Blaze is just really strong. And then the last 6 cards in the deck are going to be up in the air. But if you have a tournament that you are playing in the rest of Bt10, and you want to play Gammamon, play the 3 copies of Tai and Kari and the 3 copies of Sunrise Buster. Because Sunrise Buster, being able to cheat out a promo hero and being able to get extra swings while killing something big is nuts. And Tai and Kari is also just a great card. Padding your opponent's security lets your level 4s survive more, forcing your opponent to have to clear them, which is just really strong. But, you know, as we know, Sunrise is going to 1. And if Sunrise goes to 1, you have to cut at least 1 Tai and Kari, in my opinion. So then you have 3 open slots to work with in the deck. And 2 of these become the Dorbick. And then you have 1 other slot to work with. So if you wanted to do that, that's cool. But you could also cut the 6-card engine entirely. Go up a Breaklaw, go up a Crimson Blaze. And then you have 4 other slots to work with. So this deck has a lot of flexibility coming into the EX3 format. But for right now, Sunrise Buster is just such a busted card. I don't understand why you wouldn't play it if you have the option to. And I think even at just 1 copy in the deck, there is still the argument to be made to include the Tai and Kari just to play this card because it is that powerful. But yeah, I'm excited to crack open some EX3 and get testing the Dorbickmon into this upcoming format. This deck has been testing really well right now. Gamma is kind of a single tower deck that has a Champion Rush fallback style, and that style has always been kind of successful in the Digimon card game, just because you have multiple ways to win the game, and all of them are viable win conditions. And this deck just has a lot of good cards. Red received a lot of buffs, so hope you guys like what you saw. Leave a comment on what you'd change, what you guys enjoyed, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.